Pat Robertson is going to give some horrific advice to a poor, scared woman here who lost her husband recently. Let's watch.
Bev says, I'm a 60-year-old widow. I lost my beloved 47-year-old husband to cancer in November of 2012. Afterwards, the only job I was able to get was a part-time job at a local store. Recently, the store introduced Voodoo doll keychains, each with its own special powers. I thought about refusing to wait on a customer who was purchasing them and just ask a coworker to do it, but I do need the job. Any suggestions? And I'm making too much out of this.
Oh, no, you're not. God can give you another job. There are many jobs. There are people looking for good employees, for people who are intelligent and hardworking and loyal and all the rest of it. You don't have to put up with that. You don't want to give your heart over to voodoo or magic arts. If they're doing a voodoo doll, the next thing you know, they'll be having little dollies you put pins in and bring down curses on them. Mm. You never know what's next. Why should you have to do that? I mean, God can give you a job. I know it'll be painful, but God can give you a job. And hone your skills before you jump. Make sure you got everything in order, and possibly you can line up a job before you quit that one.
You know, Pat Robertson is really just a bad guy. We make fun of him a lot, and we laugh because he says such goofy things, but we're neglecting a little bit just how much real-world damage he does. You know, this story here reminds me of one that we covered about a year or so ago, where he does this sometimes at the end of the show. He'll pray with everybody on his set, and he'll talk about how, you know, there's somebody out there that has an infection or they have cancer and it's come back, and we're going to heal you through the power of prayer, and we're going to get to the point where you're better and you don't have to go to the doctor anymore. And he's done stories about this where people, you know, they hire them or they pretend or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, no, Pat's prayers healed me. And Pat, what you're doing is you are incentivizing people who are susceptible to this kind of stuff and who can be duped by this stuff. You're telling them, don't worry about the doctor. I don't even know if he realizes that he's doing this. He might not realize it, but this is the net effect. You're saying, don't worry about the doctor. My prayer will take care of you. And I'm thinking about you and you're healed. Pat, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. When you are giving people an excuse not to go to the hospital, when there are a lot of people who are scared of the hospital in the first place, or they're skeptical of modern medicine and they would rather sit there in front of your goofy show and have the prayer affect them. That's a dangerous thing, man. You're making it so more people won't go get checked out. And that's inexcusable. Now, fast forward to this situation. Dude, you're telling this poor woman who lost her husband recently and who needs this job, she tells you she needs this job. Yeah, leave your job because they're selling some product that says something with voodoo, whatever. No, Pat, stop it, stop it. Obviously that thing isn't going to affect her in any negative way. It's not real. Voodoo's not a fucking thing. But you're telling her leave the job. Quote, God can give you another job. God can give you another job. No. Let me tell you something, you stupid prick. You are exploiting God for people to give you gobs of money when you didn't earn dick, okay? So you are taking your own situation and projecting it onto everybody else. It reminds me of an interview Bill Maher did with a pastor and Religulous, and he said something along the lines of, the money's going to come. You just got to worship God first. And Maher's like, no, the money came for you. Because you are telling them, everybody in your audience, that they got to give you money because you are talking to God. Same thing with Pat Robertson here. God will give you a job. He's giving me millions and millions of dollars. She's working a job. She needs the job. She tells you she needs the job. It's not something you just leave. Leave because of this thing, which doesn't fucking mean anything. You have to keep it real with people and say, no, that's not going to affect you in any way, shape, or form. But this gets to the heart of the issue. Why? Why is he still arguing this, even when it's going to... But his ideology is going to hurt people when he gives advice like this, because he views voodoo and other forms of mythology as competition to him. We know this. He said Dungeons and Dragons is demonic and satanic and you shouldn't play it because you're, calling in the occult. And he truly believes, okay, my brand of made-up shit can't compete with that made-up shit. So I'm going to besmirch all of that and say it's all bad and say it's so real that you got to look out for it and come into the light, which is my 700 Club show and my goofy ideology. No, he's a huckster, he's a charlatan, he's a bad guy, he's actively hurting people on this planet, and this is a good example of it right here.